Oh, sorry, I didn't see there. I'm Hunter Taylor, and I'm a student here at Kendrick Junior Senior High School. For the last few months, I've been researching and studying traits and personality types on what it takes to be an entrepreneur. For this, we're going to go around Kendrick and interview local business owners here in Kendrick. For the entrepreneurs we're doing here in Kendrick is Shane Taylor. He's got a construction company right outside of Kendrick, and also across the street, Bert Brocky, and our own restaurant here in Kendrick owned by Lane Harris. We're going to head over and get those interviews. Before we get too far in the video, I'd like to say that Taylor Construction has declined my offer on doing the interview, and it'll just be Bert and Lane doing it. So let's go watch those interviews right now. I'm here with Bert Brocky. First question, what is your business and how did it start?
We are a small family-owned business. George F. Brocky and Stones started in 1950. We process peas, lentils, and chickpeas and ship them all over the world. My great-grandfather started the business as beans and grass seed. And then in about 1955, 60, they brought in the first lentils. And I think in about 1995, we kind of phased out the last of the grass seeds and the small seeds and are only peas, lentils, and chickpeas
Okay, I'm here with Lane Harris, the owner of the brewery. Could you explain what is your business?
Yeah, so restarted the brewery in Kendrick. I'm running it as a full service restaurant right now. So we do beer and wine, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then the other half of the business is the brew house, which we will get going in the next year, 2024, and have beer operational and start making good stuff in Kendrick again.
Why did you start this business?
So I saw a need in the community that um, wasn't being filled currently. The year before last, there was the tragedy with Nathan's, and there was no restaurant in town, and so there was a lot of like our elderly residents that like just won't eat if there's no place to go out and eat, and so that really worried me as somebody who has both sets of my grandparents here that they need some place to be able to come and like rely on. So I saw that it was a beautiful building, and I had been running my computer business, a different business across the street as the previous owners were getting this place up and going. So I saw how busy and good that it could be with all the people that were coming into town on the weekend and having a good time here. And so the fact that it was closed after COVID was a big bummer and like a, not very good for our community.
Yeah.
And so when I had the chance to move back home, and I really fought for it to try to find a way to do it, financially, because I'm not a wealthy person. I had to get a bank loan for it and everything. It's a big choice to be able to do it, but I started it because there was a void in the market that I knew I could fulfill and be successful within.
Gotcha.
So
As a business owner, what does your daily outlook look like?
Basically, my day is, at least at what I do today, is a lot of admin. So I'm taking care of the financials of the business. I'm also in sales. I do grower relations. I do a little bit of everything. We're small, and so everybody kind of does a little bit of everything. Where even even saying that, I still do a lot of the main admin stuff with the finances and things like that as well.
So, as a business owner, what is your daily outlook?
So my daily outlook is one of optimism. I have a lot of hope in general that my employees are doing what they should be doing, that my general manager and cooks are, on top of things and are really minding the bottom line as far as waste and cost and pricing of products. What that means for me is that I oversee the entire business operations financials, because nobody else kind of has that experience of really putting a pencil to what makes a business money and what loses them. And you know, to a lot of people's credit, like as an employee of a business, you don't really see that either, you know. So my responsibilities here at the brewery are to keep things on the rails, making sure that we are making money, we're not doing things that are losing money, you know, that we are getting people in the door. So I manage all the marketing for what we do in newspapers, or you know, doing flyers and handouts. And I work with Holly managing events. Holly is kind of the front of the house manager, and so she puts on a lot of big, like, fun things for the community to do.
Yeah.
And so I work with her to make sure that the cost is there for our customers, and also that we're keeping costs down for us so that we can make money on them.
What is your favorite part of being a business owner and your least favorite part?
You know, for me, I like the thought. So I've got two sides to our business, and we've got customers on each end, and then our employees. And the best part about it is being able to help people. And you know, like the employees, we've hopefully we've made it so that they can make a good living, they have a good place to work. My customers, I can keep them happy. Um, you know, I've been able to travel around the world because of this business. You know, all of that stuff. If I was going to talk about the least favorite things, it would be the customers and the employees.
Yeah,
They
gotcha.
also are very difficult. The same way they're very, very good. So.
So, what is your favorite part about being a business owner?
My favorite part about being a business owner is that my fate is in my own hands. You know, you have a lot of autonomy with the choices you make and the direction you choose to go with anything, which is a great thing, and it's also a super scary thing because there's no, you know, employee handbook for being the owner, and there's no guidelines for how to run a restaurant properly in your location. And so you've got to make judgment calls on everything, which is, again, really cool. It is my favorite part because it's strategy, and it's like playing a big game, you know, where I get good prices on food, so then I can have a really good priced special and bring fresh, good food to people. Or, you know, once I get beer going, that's something that takes a lot of labor, but then I can produce for cheap. And so it's a good, you know, high margin item, but then it's also something I can run like promotions on to do like dollar beers, you know, to get more people in the business, to benefit the rest of the business, like the restaurant. So that's my absolutely favorite part is, you know, kind of being in control of the direction that I want to take it.
What is your least favorite part about being a business owner?
Yeah, so it's a tough question. Um, but the least, you know, my least favorite part about being a business owner is the risk of it all and the uncertainty, because it's an inherently uncertain thing because you never know what the future is going to hold. Kind of like what we saw with COVID. Nobody could have predicted that, and it really ruined a lot of people's businesses out of the blue. And so it's a big responsibility to take something like this on. And, you know, a lot of people may think that, you know, oh, well, it's just great. You're making money hand over fist. But first of all, I'm not. And there's a lot of risk that I took on for the chance at that reward.
How does a small town play a part in your business, and would you be able to run your business in a big city?
Yes. So the small town is a great thing. I think it's a good atmosphere. I think that you get a ton of support from the community the same way we give back a ton of support to the community. Uh, you know, that's the good part. It's close knit community, right? And it's small. You know everybody. I think that's good for our business. Our employees are people that I grew up with. You know, and long term, we have people stick around for 20, 30 years. The downside is that we're not close to anything. So
Mm-hmm.
transportation wise, it's difficult. Obtaining trucks for domestic shipments or obtaining trucks for international shipments and the movements, it makes it more difficult. Um, but in large, we can do things the same as you could do it in, say, Seattle or California, and probably cheaper here. But then the trade-off is the transportation side. We're further away from the sources,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So yes, we can do it. I wouldn't though. I think the small town is a better thing for us.
How does a small town play a part in your business?
So, uh, running a business in a small town is such a unique aspect of small town businesses because it's unlike anywhere else in the world where there's an influx of customers just in every single day, either through tourism or just numbers, where in a small town, the people that walk through my door on the daily are the customers that I have. So one thing that I learned in business school or even just kind of through experience is that customers are really expensive to get in the door. You either have to pay advertising to get them, or you've got to offer them coupons or whatever. But in a small town, that pool of people isn't ever going to get bigger. So if you lose a customer, that customer's gone for good. Holly taught me that most customers will forgive a bad food experience, but they will never forgive a bad service experience.
Yeah.
So if we as a restaurant or brewery were to wrong them and have them feel cheated or whatever the case is, like, they will not come back, and that is a customer that I will lose for the rest of my time here, and again, you'll never get them back. So it's something that a small town has challenges in the fact that you've got to be treating everybody as if they were your neighbor because they are.
Okay, do you think you'd be able to conduct this business in like a big city?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunities too, but in a big city, the biggest difference that I notice is that the competition is that much more elevated.
Since we are in a small town, how do you get your business out? How do you promote your business?
So we've got an advantage in that world because our business is almost 75 years old now. The word of mouth for especially my international business. Even saying that though, I still travel a lot to like food shows around the world. And then from there, you can visit a ton of customers at one time. You get the best bang for your buck when you're traveling, and you're put in front of a ton of new customers that you may not know. Uh, Domestically, we have a website, we have online stuff, we have the Instagrams and the
Mm-hmm.
whatever, all that stuff. And so the new way is the online systems that you can use. And like, we're promoting a small pack now, and we have a website, and we're going to do Instagram, we're going to do TikTok or whatever they do.
Yeah.
Face Snap.
Okay,
I don't
yeah,
know.
Snapchat.
Yeah. But anyway, that's so it's migrating that way.
Okay. Promote your business.
So we've got a really good resource in town that is our local KJ7 newsletter. And so that's a free resource available to any of the organizations or any of the businesses in our area, which is really cool. So I try to have an article in there every edition. Otherwise, I've run a couple newspaper ads, like in the Orfino newspaper, because they're kind of a commerce partner to us through Door Shack in the summer, and one in the Lewiston paper when we first opened, so people could really know that we're open again. But I think there's a lot of free advertising that's really underutilized. So I went and put posters up the other day, just in public places, because there's so many people that go through like the library or to the post office that you get that exposure for free. I don't really believe in like TV ads kind of anymore. I think TV's kind of gone the way of like radio. where there's not as many listeners or like real people that hear it as they kind of claim that do. Internet advertising, I think, is a really strong option, but has to be focused really correctly. And at this point, I don't know who to target, so I haven't done any internet advertising yet.
Do you think being a business owner takes a specific personal trait?
No, not necessarily. I think that if you have the desire and you have the knowledge, you could piece it together. Are there things, I can pick myself apart. So I'm not very good at talking in front of people. And I think that that would be, and when I say that, groups, one on one doesn't bother me, but groups, and I could probably be better at my job if I was better at doing that.
Mhm.
You do need to be self motivated. You do need to be self driven, things like that. And if you have the ambition and the desire, I think you could pull it off.
Do you think it takes a specific trait to be a business owner?
Yes, I think there's a lot of traits that contribute to somebody's success in business, but among the most important, I believe, are is decisiveness, because you've got to be able to make decisions even when the decisions are really hard, or you might not know really what the correct decision is to make.
What is your strengths and weaknesses as a business owner?
Like I said, my weaknesses are probably the speaking in front of people. My strengths, I, I have no problem. I'm extremely honest, I guess. And
Mhm.
so my sales pitches are pretty boring. I'm going to tell them exactly what I have to offer and if it's good or bad or indifferent, and we'll prove it by what we show.
What is your strengths and weaknesses as a business owner?
I would say, from the lens of what I've learned over the past year and feedback that, my key people have given me, is that I am almost too much of a doer, because a lot of times I will try to delegate something to someone, and either I can't communicate what I really need them to achieve
Mhm.
well enough, or define, the outcomes of what I'm asking them to do well enough, because people will say that they're like, you asked me to do something, but then you just ended up doing it yourself,
Yeah.
and that maybe stems from, starting with the weaknesses here, like a lack of, communication skills. I know that I'm really always thinking about stuff in my head, and I've got a really clear picture of what I know needs to happen in my head. But then, when working with people of a huge variety of backgrounds and communication styles, it's hard to really share that vision or like that internal, goal with everybody, because things will get off track, and, suddenly people are doing something that they thought was part of the goal that it's not, or whatever the case may be. So I really probably lack communication skills that I really need. Um, on the other hand, I would say that that's a strength, because I do have a very direct form of communication. And once, like, I know you well enough and I know your communication style, I tend to be just, as direct as possible. I'm not going to sugarcoat or, like, pat you on the back for what you're getting there. You're getting there. I'm going to say, no, I need you to do this,
Yeah.
and this is why.
Since this is a family business, were you pressured into going into this, or?
I was really fortunate. My father and my grandfather never pressured me an ounce. They let me go and do my thing. And then eventually I did end up here working and did eventually move into more of a manager sort of position. And it was my choice.
Then, have you always wanted to be a business owner?
Yeah, actually, from a really young age, I always knew I had the entrepreneurial spirit of, providing a service or a good, and like getting paid for it. I loved that idea as a kid. I played video games that were about running businesses, or running the lemonade stand, or I was a big part of 4-H and FFA, which was ultimately kind of a business thing.
Yeah.
And then BPA I was big into in high school. And even just doing things for friends, like fixing their iPhone or whatever. It was so cool to be able to be a part of the business ecosystem. Like, they need something, I can do it. Let's trade.
Being a business owner, you kind of have to be a leader. Was that hard to get into, or was it kind of natural for you?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I like to think of it, for me, I think of my employees as partners, not that I'm managing people, or I'm their boss or something like that. I look at it like I'm working with those people. And historically, I've had a pretty decent response. I've only had a handful of people that we've like conflicted with and things, that I can't get along with somebody. So I think
Hmm.
it must be working. I don't know. Yeah. So I think, I don't know. Yeah.
Sounds.
Right.
So being a business owner, you kind of have to be a leader. Was that like hard to get into, or was it kind of natural for you?
It was definitely difficult, and still continues to be difficult, because it takes a lot of different skills to be a really effective leader, like communication skills, kind of like what we talked about, but then also having a really clear vision on what you're trying to do is a huge part of it. And I haven't always had that. In like the context of the question, depending on your business, like, you're you're kind of either a leader within your own environment. Here, like, I lead a team of cooks and servers to offer this. But even when I was running the computer business, I helped kind of lead individual people in their, worldview of what computers are and do. So I think you hit it on the head. Like, by running a business, you kind of are automatically a leader in some way. Like, you're claiming to have an authority on whatever it is you do.
Mhm.
And that's a really difficult thing, because you've got to step into the role and have that conviction about whatever you're doing, that you're doing it right.
As you can see, it takes a certain amount of skills and traits to want to start your own business. I hope this video influenced you to want to start your own business, because I want to start mine. This is my senior project, and thank you for watching.